Jacob prepares to meet Esau. As Jacob went on his way, some angels met him. When he saw them, he said, "This is God's camp." So he called the place Mahanaim. Jacob sent messengers ahead of him to his brother Esau in the country of Edom. He instructed them to say, "I, Jacob, your obedient servant, report to my master Esau that I have been staying with Laban and that I have delayed my return until now. I own cattle, donkeys, sheep, goats, and slaves. I am sending you word, sir, in the hope of gaining your favor." When the messengers came back to Jacob, they said, "We went to your brother Esau, and he is ready on his way to meet you. He has 400 men with him." Jacob was frightened and worried. He divided into two groups the people who were with him, and also his sheep, goats, cattle, and camels. He thought, if Esau comes and attacks the first group, the other may be able to escape. Then Jacob prayed, "God of my grandfather Abraham and God of my father Isaac, hear me. You told me, Lord, to go back to my land and to my relatives, and you would make everything go well for me. I am not worth all the kindness and faithfulness that you have shown me, your servant. I crossed the Jordan with nothing but a walking stick, and now I have come back with these two groups. Save me, I pray, from my brother Esau. I am afraid that he is coming to attack us and destroy us all, even the women and children. Remember that you promised to make everything go well for me and to give me more descendants than anyone could count, as many as the grains of sand along the seashore." After spending the night there, Jacob chose from his livestock as a present for his brother Esau 200 female goats and 20 males, 200 female sheep and 20 males, 30 milk camels with their young, 40 cows and 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys and 10 males. He divided them into herds and put one of his servants in charge of each herd. He said to them, "Go ahead of me and leave a space between us, between each herd and the one behind it." He ordered the first servant, "When my brother Esau meets you and asks, 'Who is your master? Where are you going? Who owns the animals in front of you?' you must answer, 'They belong to your servant Jacob. He sends them as a present to his master Esau. Jacob himself is just behind us." He gave the same order to the second, the third, and to all the others who were in charge of the herds. "This is what you must say to Esau when you meet him. You must say, 'Yes, your servant Jacob is just behind us.'" Jacob was thinking, "I will win him over with the gifts, and when I meet him, perhaps he will forgive me." He sent the gifts on ahead of him and spent the night in the camp. Jacob wrestles at Peniel. The same night Jacob got up, took his 2 wives, his 2 concubines, and his 11 children, and crossed the river Jabbok. After he had sent them across, he also sent across all that he owned, but he stayed behind alone. Then a man came and wrestled with him until just before daybreak. When the man saw that he was not winning the struggle, he struck Jacob on the hip, and it was thrown out of joint. The man said, Let me go. Daylight is coming. I won't unless you bless me. Jacob answered. What is your name? The man asked. Jacob, he answered. The man said, Your name will no longer be Jacob. You have struggled with God and with men, and you have won, so your name will be Israel. Jacob said, Now tell me your name. But he answered, Why do you want to know my name? Then he blessed Jacob. Jacob said, I have seen God face to face, and I am alive, still alive. So he named the place Peniel. The sun rose as Jacob was leaving Peniel, and he was limping because of his hip. Even today, the descendants of Israel do not eat the muscle which is on the hip joint, because it was on this muscle that Jacob was struck. Jacob meets Esau. Jacob saw Esau coming with his 400 men. So he divided the children among Leah, Rachael, and the 2 concubines. He put the concubines and their children first, then Leah and her children, and finally Rachael and Joseph at the rear. Jacob went ahead of them and bowed down to the ground 7 times as he approached his brother. But Esau ran to meet him, threw his arms round him, and kissed him. They were both crying. When Esau looked round and saw the women and the children, he asked, Who are these people with you? These, sir, are the children whom God has been good enough to give me. Jacob answered. Then the concubines came up with their children and bowed down. Then Leah and her children came, and last of all Joseph and Rachael came and bowed down. Esau asked, What about the other group I met? What did that mean? Jacob answered, It was to gain your favor. But Esau said, I have enough, my brother. Keep what you have. Jacob said, No, please. If I have gained your favor, accept my gift. I see your face is for me, like seeing the face of God. Now that you have been so friendly to me, please accept this gift which I have brought for you. God has been kind to me and given me everything I need. Jacob kept on urging him until he accepted. Esau said, Let's prepare to leave. I will go ahead of you. Jacob answered, You know that the children are weak, and I must think of the sheep and the livestock with their young. If they are driven hard for even one day, the whole herd will die. Please go on ahead of me, and I will follow slowly, going as fast as I can with the livestock and the children until I catch up with you in Edom. Esau said, Then let me leave some of my men with you. But Jacob answered, There is no need for that, for I only want to gain your favor. So that day Esau started on his way back to Edom. But Jacob went to Succoth, where he built a house for himself and shelters for his livestock. That is why the place was named Succoth. On his return from Mesopotamia, Jacob arrived safely at the city of Shechem in the land of Canaan and set up his camp in a field near the city. He bought that part of the field from the descendants of Hamor, father of Shechem, for 100 pieces of silver. He put up an altar there and named it after Ei, the god of Israel. The rape of Dinah. One day, Dinah, the daughter of Jacob and Leah, went to meet some of the Canaanite women. When Sheshan, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, who was chief of that region, saw her, he took her and raped her. But he found the girl so attractive that he fell in love with her and tried to win her affection. He said to his father, I want you to get this girl for me as my wife. Jacob learned that his daughter had been disgraced, but because his sons were out in the fields with his livestock, he did nothing until they came back. Shesham's father Hamor went out to talk with Jacob. Just as Jacob's sons were coming in from the fields, when they heard about it, they were shocked and furious that Sheshan had done such a thing and had insulted the people of Israel by raping Jacob's daughter. Hamor said to him, My son, Sheshan has fallen in love with your daughter. Please let him marry her. Let us make an agreement that there will be intermarriage between our people and yours. Then you may stay here in our country with us. You may live anywhere you wish, trade freely, and own property. Then Sheshan said to Dinah's father and brothers, Do me this favor, and I will give you whatever you want. Tell me what presents you want, and set the payment for the bride as high as you wish. I will give you whatever you ask, if you will only let me marry her. Because Sheshan had disgraced their sister Dinah, Jacob's sons answered Sheshan and his father Hamor in a deceitful way. They said to him, We cannot let our sister marry a man who is not circumcised. That would be a disgrace for us. We can agree only on the condition that you become like us by circumcising all your males. Then we will agree to intermarriage. We will settle among you and become one people with you. But if you will not accept our terms and be circumcised, we will take her and leave. These terms seemed fair to Hamor and his son Sheshan. And the young man lost no time in doing what was suggested, because he was in love with Jacob's daughter. He was the most important member of his family. Hamor and his son Sheshan went to the meeting place at the city gate and spoke to their fellow townsmen. These men are friendly. Let them live in the land with us and travel freely. The land is large enough for them all also. Let us marry their daughters and give them ours in marriage. But these men will agree to live among us and be one people with us only on condition that we circumcise all our males as they are circumcised. Won't all their livestock and everything else they own be ours? So let us agree that they can live among us. All the citizens of the city agreed with what Hamor and Sheshan proposed, and all the males were circumcised. 3 days later, when the men were still sore from their circumcision, 2 of Jacob's sons, Simeon and Levi, the brothers of Dinah, took their swords, went into the city without arousing suspicion, and killed all the men, including Hamor and his son Sheshan. Then they took Dinah from Sheshan's house and left. After the slaughter, Jacob's other sons looted the town to take revenge for their sister's disgrace. They took the flocks, the cattle, the donkeys, and everything else in the city and in the fields. They took everything of value, captured all the women and children, and carried off everything in the houses. Jacob said to Simeon and Levi, "You have brought trouble on us. Now the Canaanites and the Perizzites and everybody else in the land will hate me. I haven't many men. If they all band together against me and attack me, our whole family will be destroyed." But they answered, "We cannot let our sister be treated like a common whore." God blesses Jacob at Bethel. God said to Jacob, "Go to Bethel at once and live there. Build an altar there for me, the God who appeared to you when you were running away from your brother Esau." So Jacob said to his family and to all who were with him, "Get rid of the foreign gods that you have, purify yourselves, and put on clean clothes. We are going to leave here and go to Bethel, where I will build an altar to the God who helped me in the time of my trouble and who has been with me everywhere I have gone." So they gave Jacob all the foreign gods that they had and also the earrings that they were wearing. He buried them beneath the oak tree near Shechem. When Jacob and his sons started to leave, great fear fell on the people of the nearby towns, and they did not pursue them. Jacob came with all his people to Luz, which is now known as Bethel, in the land of Canaan. He built an altar there and named the place after the God of Bethel, because God had revealed himself to him there when he was running away from his brother. Rebekah's nurse Deborah died and was buried beneath the oak south of Bethel. So it was named Oak of Weeping. When Jacob returned from Mesopotamia, God appeared to him again and blessed him. God said to him, "Your name is Jacob. From now on, it will be Israel." So God named him Israel. And God said to him, "I am Almighty God. Have many children. Nations will be descended from you, and you will be the ancestor of kings. I will give you the land and which I gave to Abraham and to Isaac, and I will also give it to you, to your descendants after you." Then God left him. There, where God had spoken to him, Jacob set a memorial stone and consecrated it by pouring wine and olive oil on it. He named the place Bethel. The death of Rachael. Jacob and his family left Bethel, and when they were still some distance from Ephrath, the time came for Rachael to have a baby, and she was having difficult labor. When her labor pains were at their worst, the midwife said to her, "Don't be afraid, Rachael, it's another boy." But she was dying, and as she breathed her last, she named her son Benoni, but his father named him Benjamin. When Rachel died, she was buried beside the road of Ephrath, now known as Bethlehem. Jacob set up a memorial stone there and still marks Rachel's grave to this day. Jacob moved on and set up his camp on the other side of the Tower of Eder. The sons of Jacob. While Jacob was living in that land, Reuben had sexual intercourse with Bilhah, one of his father's concubines. Jacob heard about it and was furious. Jacob had 12 sons. The sons of Leah were Reuben, Jacob's eldest son, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel were Joseph and Benjamin. The sons of Rachel's slave Bilhah were Dan and Naphtali. The sons of Leah's slave Zilpah were Gad and Asher. These sons were born in Mesopotamia. The death of Isaac. Jacob went to his father Isaac at Mamre near Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac had lived. Isaac lived to be 180 years old and died at a ripe old age, and his sons Esau and Jacob buried him.